The other thinking Orthodox faith, or the Baptist, or the Anabaptist, or the Calvinist, and those. So where would you put that in spiritual Christianity?
Okay, I think the problem with the Baptists and other groups, Protestant groups, they came about 500 years ago.
Yeah.
So for 1500 years, their beliefs were not really held by a significant number of Christians, if any.
Well, their beliefs were, it's a matter of interpretation.
Okay.
Before, the Bible was only in Latin and only within the hierarchy. Okay, it was not available to the common man, and people trusted what was taught at the pulpit, and the Pope and the priests, etc. Right? When the Bible became freely available through the printing press, people began to read it for themselves. Right? Understanding different theological dilemmas and insights, things like that, and they came to a different conclusion than the earlier official religion. So I believe that God's how shall I put this, reveals himself through the ages, through the saints, right? By the saints, I don't mean the people that only the church canonizes.
The people of God people in a broader sense.
And their understanding of God, of sin, of salvation, of heaven, hell, of brotherhood, of tolerance, of love, of forgiveness, lots and lots of different theological questions and things. Through the ages, they developed some correctly, some not so correctly. So I find it difficult to follow one path and say that is
it's the exclusion of the others. You got to got a more broad view and to take this has got good things, but this has got good things too. That's fair enough. I think I suppose why I am of the position I am. Firstly, I take it's going back 2,000 years, and we have Jesus preaching, selects 12 men, and there's a broader group of followers as well. He says in Matthew's Gospel, "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church."
Did he say upon this rock or upon this rock?
That's a good question. I'm not actually going to feel the need to be specific about that. He says, "I will give thee the keys to the kingdom of heaven, and what thou binds on earth will be bound in heaven, what thou loosest on earth will be loosed in heaven." So that's given exclusively to Peter. Then in the next chapter,
I beg to differ.
Go to chapter 18, verse 17, I think. We have Jesus given the power to bind and loose to all the apostles together. So one interpretation of that is that Peter can exercise this authority on his own, but the apostles altogether can exercise it as well. So we have two aspects in this matter. We say the Pope has power on his own, as we call him the successor of Peter, and we say in a general council, the Pope with the rest of the bishops can exercise this authority. Now, a lot of non-Catholics will say, oh yeah, a general council, that seems a reasonable idea, where the Christians get together from the world, but the Pope on his own, I'm not sure about that. But we say that we trace from Francis now, all the way back, the popes all the way back to Peter. So we have documents like Saint Hegesippus is one, who gives us a list, and we have Saint Irenaeus, who gives us a list of the bishops of Rome up to his day. And there's another one as well, but I can't remember the name. So these men, I take Saint Augustine, he was in North Africa. He was miles and miles away from Rome.
I think Tunisia or somewhere like that.
Carthage, that area. Yeah, you're right. In those areas, so miles from Italy, miles from Europe, miles from Rome. But he called the Pope the father of all Christians. Now that's a really important title because it means there's
figurehead, I would
there's not
say.
just several fathers.
Yeah.
This is one father of all Christians. Now, it doesn't mean he's saying that he can just interfere and do everything he wants. It just shows the value of that office in the early church. So that's the starting point. That's the starting point.